Console, online. HPG connection, online. Educational module, online. All systems, nominal.
Hello, class, and welcome to On the Origin of Battlemechs Podcast, episode 96. Today we are talking about the Spyder Part B. We are continuing on with this fantastic little scout machine. Of course, I am your host, Brent Stewart. My co-hosts today are...
I'm Chandler.
And I'm Derek.
And we're going to pick up right where we left off with the Spyder SDR-7KC, seen in 3070. And it has a movement profile of 8-12-8, a C3 slave in the head, and a light PPC in the center torso. It's got 10 double heat sinks, ferro, and a light fusion engine. And it also has endo steel. So yeah, this is just a very fast part of C3 unit that can get in and give data, and it can poke at quite a distance with that light PPC.
Offensive C3. That's all I've got to say on it. Offensive C3.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the fact that it has a light PPC, just because it kind of encourages you not to get very close.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you're also a Spyder, so getting really close is not the greatest idea.
It's not healthy.
Yeah. I'd almost expect to see a lot of like 7KC2 refits that just take the C3 out and give it like an ECM to keep it alive.
Yeah.
But that's, a different matter.
I mean, you could drop the light PPC down to a medium laser, drop a jump jet, because you only really need to be jumping 7 for like min-maxing purposes. Yeah. That gives you like a ton and a half. That would cover your C3.
Well, that gets you, the light PPC, that's 3 tons, so.
Oh, I thought they were 2. My bad.
No, they're 3, which is why this makes me sad. Because it's not an easy just like, I'll just slap something else in here and call it a day.
I mean, you pull the light PPC and replace it with like 3 medium ER lasers.
Yeah. The nice thing about having something that weighs 3 tons that also is 2 slots max is that then you don't have to redesign anything else. You literally just plug and play with the center torso.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which I guess you could do like a medium pulse laser, like an ER medium. You could do a lot of different things with this.
You could do 2 ER mediums and then the extra ton. Oh, but you would need a slot for the ECM, wouldn't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's aight.
You got a lot of options. It's not a bad mech by itself. It just
No.
It's just the paradox of the light PPC.
It's poorly designed Draconis Combine trash.
I wondered when that would come out.
Hey man, it was going to come out.
It does look good. It has that newer model with the wings out the back and the jump jets, kind of almost looking like it's going to do a belly flop.
Yeah. I mean, the artwork's great for it. Just, meh. My opinion, meh.
Yeah, fair. So this guy's got a battle value of 732 and a point value of 25, and so I think it'll shine in a good C3 unit, but by itself it is underwhelming.
Yeah.
So next up we have the 7KR, seen in 3074. This has a movement profile of 8-12-8. It's got a medium pulse laser in the center torso and an Angel ECM suite. It's got ferro, it's got endo, it's got a light fusion engine, it's got 10 double heat sinks, it's got the same amount of armor as the other K, and it's just kind of what you were talking about just a second ago.
Offensive ECM.
It's almost like the Draconis Combine figured it out.
Yeah, because it's made 4 years later, so they realized we made something that was meh, and then we made something that was less meh.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. I mean, it's the Angel ECM is pretty awesome. I'll give them that, but
who likes it when streaks hit things? I don't. That's why I have an Angel ECM.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, like I said with the last one, offensive C3. This one is offensive ECM, because you can just duck and dive in and just go mess with people with your ECM. So, and then you're just kind of poking away with your medium pulse laser if you so choose, but otherwise I think you're just using this thing to just get in there and just absolutely disrupt everything with your ECM.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's got a battle value of 775 and a point value of 25. Next, we have the SDR-8X, seen again 4 years later in 3078. And this is got a movement profile of 8, 12, 10. It has 2 medium pulse lasers. It's got 10 double heat sinks, but it can sink 23. It's got an XL engine, endo steel, regular armor, and it has partial wings.
It's X for extreme. This is the bane of any light mech's existence.
This is just funny because this thing can just fly across the battlefield, like
literally and figuratively.
Yeah, literally and figuratively. Like it. I like it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the partial wings go from a quirk to a piece of kit on the machine that physically change the stats instead of like a quirk, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at like its Alpha Strike card right now. It moves 16 inches and then jumps 20 inches. Like that's most like you're in your opponent's backfield almost in turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't this the one that has the new cockpit design with the bubble?
Yeah, this is the same artwork as the last one.
Yeah. It just actually has a wing now.
I actually think this is the one that it's based off of. So, because you can see the 2 pulse lasers.
That makes sense.
I really like the mandibles that it has on the front. Like right the cockpit, there's some like teethy bits that do nothing, but they look cool. So it's get bonus points for style.
Yeah, it has style.
And it has band braces on the arms for blocking all of those epic melee attack hits. Because you have all sorts of armor and structure you block with those.
Can't even get it out with a straight face.
We can't.
It's only 15 entire points of both armor and structure on those arms.
You can't throw hams. You're more likely to just break yourself than you are to hurt the other person.
Yeah.
I mean, push comes to shove. If I have to block a hatchet attack hitting me, I'm not going to block with my torso. I'm going to block with the arm, especially on a Spyder that has no arm weapons.
No, absolutely. But
true.
You don't want to rely on it.
No, yeah.
That's why you got what happens when the hatchet goes through the arm to the torso?
That's why you have 2 arms. Patented anime block activate. Blah.
Well, the 8X has a battle value of 765 and a point value of 26. We then come to the 8K in 3084. It's got a movement profile of 8, 12, 8. It's got a PPC capacitor and a snub-nosed PPC in the center torso. It's got 10 double heat sinks. It's got an XL engine. It's got ferro and endo steel. And,
Pretty much somebody looked at the 7K, the 7K or KC and just was like, let's put a snub-nosed PPC in that. That'll be funny. And that's what they did.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they do strip a little armor off of it, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but between
there's not a lot to strip off anyway, so...
Yeah, between the snub nose, the capacitor, and then also having the compact gyro, you needed to, something had to give somewhere.
True, right. Sorry, I missed the compact gyro.
So your survivability had to be given up. What little you had.
The only thing that gave it away that I had a compact gyro was the fact it had the capacitor and the PPC in the center torso. And I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
This snub nose is 2 slots.
Yes. But, snub-nosed PPC, always nice to see. And with a capacitor, it's going to get very spicy. But, of course, means you can't shoot it every turn, which is unfortunate. But probably helps with your heat management, though.
True.
Yeah.
So this guy's got a battle value of 1,007 and a point value of 18. And in the same year, we have the 8R in 3084. And this is the first Spyder with the full head ejection system. So finally figured that out, which is good because, little overdue, I guess.
Yeah.
So the 8R has a movement profile of 7, 11, 10. It's got 2 ER medium lasers in the center torso. It's got 10 double heat sinks, and it's got those improved jump jets, and a light engine with endo steel. and even less armor because, of course, taking up all those slots for the improved jump jets will take up not only slots but tonnage, which, the Pharaoh helped. All the weight savings from the Pharaoh probably went back into the armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where we said the last one was almost wet tissue paper, this is like extremely wet tissue paper. I would not want to go into battle in this thing. It's fast, which is cool, but
yeah.
I mean, I think now I'm looking at it a little bit more. It's a decent ambush mech with the 2 ER medium lasers, but basically anything decides to look in your direction and fire and hits you with an AC 10 or above, essentially, it just kind of blows through your armor, like, completely, and some of your internal structure, depending on where it hits you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, this thing takes an AC 20 hit anywhere on it. It literally loses that section.
Yeah.
And that damage spills into something else.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit one of these things in the
that's true for
arm,
most light mechs. Like,
no, I know, but at least, like, some of them, it's a little, it's a little close. Like, it's not that bad, but, like, this thing right now, if you hit it in the right arm with an AC 20, right, you're going to take off all of the armor, which is 5. Then you're going to take off the arm, which, or the internal structure, 5. So then you still have 10 damage rolling into the right torso. That it's going to take off all of that armor, which is 6, or almost all of that armor, which is 6. So you'll have 1 armor and 7 structure left.
Oh no, if you hit it with an AC 20, that's just 10 damage. You go through all of the armor.
Yeah, so
and then you break.
You would have 3 internal structure left on the torso side.
Okay, yeah, I might have gotten that wrong.
And then, heaven forbid, if someone hits you with a close range heavy Gauss shot, then you're just dead.
I mean,
you just disintegrate. 25 damage is death anywhere.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you should not be in short range of a heavy Gauss rifle.
No,
you move 10.
You should not.
Mm-hmm.
You are speed.
Speed is love. Speed is life.
Yeah. This guy's got a battle value of 694 and a point value of 19. We then come to the 9M, seen in 3096, and it's got a movement profile of 812-8. It's got a medium VSP laser in the left torso, a medium VSP laser in the right torso, 10 double heat sinks, light ferro, endo steel, an XL engine, and this is also got some new art, which calls back to the original design with the kind of finned jump pack of the original design, but with a Kickstarter redux, and I really like what they've done with the head. It looks very kind of Spec Ops Commando-ish.
Yep. Wait, which art are we talking about right now? Oh, Kickstarter, yeah, VSPs. Sorry.
Yeah, that art.
Somehow I got distracted by VSP and didn't realize we were talking about the one Spyder with VSPs.
Yes.
It has really cool art. I like its art.
Yeah.
The rec guide art for the Spyder looks really nice. So, and 2 variable speed pulse lasers are pretty cool.
Yeah, 2 medium VSPs. That's a lot of damage in short range.
Oh,
yeah.
And you have the speed to get there. It's not like it's hard for you to get into that short range.
And you definitely have armor on this, which is pretty nice.
Yes.
Like, looking at it right now, it definitely fixes a lot of my issues with the last couple.
Yeah. Sadly, it still has that XL engine instead of that light engine. But, the Spyder has always been speed as its armor, because it a fast boy, it not a strong boy.
Sure. Yeah. I've come to the conclusion that a lot of light mechs, the ISXL's weakness of, losing a side torso and dying isn't as much of a weakness. Just because if you get hit by anything decently hard, you're going to lose that side torso anyway, which is probably going to kill you anyway. Yeah. So you might as well go faster and hopefully not get hit at all anyway. And there's a lot of anyways. So anyway.
Yeah. No, the lights, or the XL engine in light mechs is very strong, and I think it's one of the places where the cons are mitigated by the fragility of the machine's baseline, is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. To get very technical and hoity-toity. So it's got a battle value of 687 and a point value of 27. And then we come to the 8XR, seen in 3103. and this guy has a movement profile of 8, 12, 10. It's got a ER small laser in the head, 2 ER small lasers in the center torso, an ER small laser in the right torso, an ER small laser in the left torso, a partial wing in the right and left torso, and a sword in the right arm. It's got 10 double heat sinks, but it can sink 23 with the partial wing. It's got that XL engine. It's got a standard gyro. It's got endo steel. And yeah, a fast flyy boy that wants to get close and go pew pew pew, stabby stabby.
Yeah.
Love it.
My one gripe is that for the exact same tonnage, you could just drop a couple of the small lasers and put a vibroblade on this thing, which does more damage with the sword. But it's a minor gripe, and vibroblades aren't exactly common, so I'm not surprised that they didn't put it on.
I mean, I'm always partial to the hatchet, but that's me.
Yeah. But I mean, this is a Spyder that can literally shank people.
Yeah.
At speed.
Speed shanking.
Speed shanking.
Trademark.
So this can do like the anime thing where there's that flash and then it like lands and in the dynamic pose, and you know the mech in the background is suddenly
Nani?
Is spurting oil and hydraulic fluid, or
some combination.
My armor bundles are like snapping and going.
Oh my Shinderu.
Nani? And then there's that massive electronic noise that I cannot replicate with my mouth because it is not electronic.
I actually like this one. Its alpha strike profile is actually really funny too. It's like a 20-inch jump movement with 2 at short range, 2 at medium range, and melee. So you can just like jump behind somebody and just be like, I'm gonna stab you.
Do not worry, we are here for the melee.
Well, this ridiculous bit of kit has a battle value of 754 and a point value of 27. We then come to the Spyder 10K in 3143. And this guy's got a movement profile of 8, 12, 8, and it's got a large re-engineered laser in the right torso. It's got very light armor, but it's ballistic reinforced. It's got endo steel. It's got an XL engine. It's got 10 double heat sinks. It a thing.
I love the fact that it's ballistic reinforced.
They're like, we can't put a lot of armor on this thing, but dang it, we're going to make sure the Davians have a hard time.
Yeah. I'm gonna make you work for trying to kill this thing.
And then, of course, the Davians laugh when they, deploy a penetrator or something that doesn't have any ballistic weapons.
Yeah,
They have other things that they do. They're not just ballistic weapons.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it with a PPC and you make it sad.
Yeah.
You hit it with a large
new
laser
Inferno.
and you make it sad.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true.
The brand new Inferno Omni. Just use the center torso Iron Man beam PPC against it.
Pretty much. I mean, it's pretty decent. The ballistic reinforced is definitely something interesting on it, seeing as it's already got light armor, so they kind of just were like, hey, we can give it at least some more survivability in a specific category. But otherwise, nothing terrible to say against it. Yeah, I don't know. I
think I'd rather see reflective. Just from a nuts and bolts kind of thing, you're more likely to get hit by a pulse laser than by a ballistic.
True. I mean, now that I think about it, a lot of mechs that we've been seeing lately, especially in the newer rec guides and in the newer books, are largely energy weapon heavy.
Yeah.
So it's like they might have a single ballistic weapon. So it's like, all right, yeah, I fire my Rack 5 or whatever at you, and cool, you're gonna be able to handle that a little bit better. But then I fire my twin PPCs at you, and you're terribly, terribly sad. So I don't know.
Accurate.
I mean, again, it's not like if it actually gets hit by a PPC or even like a Rack 5, it's probably gonna be in a bad place no matter what. It's just, it's the peace of mind. That's what it is.
And you can't put a price tag on that, right?
If you tell the soldier that they're vulnerable to the bullet, they won't fear the bullet.
Is that how that works?
Theoretically? Probably.
Theoretically? Maybe?
I mean, it does for orcs in 40k, right?
That's true.
Yes. Does that mean the Kuritans are the orcs from 40k?
Maybe?
That direction lies bad commentary.
Apparently now they're British soccer hooligans? Who knew?
So the 10K, being a spicy, interesting creation, has a battle value of 824 and a point value of 17. So next up, we have our pilot profiles, and for that, I'm going to throw over to Derek to start us off.
All right. So first up is Lieutenant Fargo Hambleton. Yep. 20-year veteran. Hambleton serves as the lead scout in 2nd Battalion of Hussein's Hotheads. When Brent Tawi seized his ancestral homeworld of Hassin in 3067, Hambleton and his scout lands were instrumental in running Grell's grinders to the ground. You gotta love these mercenary unit names. They're so much fun. While not one of the best shots, Hambleton's ability to pass on his years of experience proved invaluable to the Hothead's current assignment, training the newly formed Word of Blake Protectorate Militia. When informed that he and the rest of the Hotheads had been branded rogues for their support of the Word of Blake, Hambleton noted with typical pragmatism that all he was doing was collecting a paycheck.
I can appreciate that.
I can appreciate that as well.
I always feel very sorry for all of the people who are not like Word of Blake hardliners that got caught up on the Word of Blake side of things.
Like some of the merc units that just were like, hey, we just took
we were just hired to do this. We were told to go protect this planet, and that's all we've done.
And then they get, branded as Blakeists and just brutally exterminated.
And then suddenly, they turn into hardcore Blakeists because they got exterminated. Who would have thought?
The winner writes the history, man.
Yeah. Then also the Protectorate militias, of course they were going to, support the Word of Blake. They gave them security and support, and they didn't do anything to them. They just came in and said, you guys are now, under our protection. Please give us, a tithe, essentially.
I mean, the biggest, again, we're kind of going into the lore thing here, but I mean, the biggest thing with the Word of Blake Protectorate militia is I know I've heard people be like, well, why would people join the Blakeists? And it's like, when you're living in the Chaos March and literally you don't know who the guy is in charge tomorrow.
Stability is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, stability is a hell of a drug. When the Blakeists show up, build infrastructure, and
I mean, there's literal pilots that we have covered that are like, this person grew up in a Word of Blake run orphanage in the Chaos March. It's like, well, they became a warrior, but that orphanage straight up is helping the community and building a lot of goodwill, whether it be for nefarious motives. Nefarious motives, or just legit. I'm sure there's a bunch of Word of Blake acolytes who just legitimately believed Blake's teachings will save us all, and just dumb as doornails, frontline recruitment sort of things. They believed in what they were doing. That's why they were convincing.
Yeah,
they did good stuff. And then you had the leadership who was just capital E, evil.
From a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view. Sing a song, but I'm not going to because copyright.
Good job.
So next up, we have Chu-Ai Nico Vester. And Nico is remembered as one of the best light mech pilots to ever serve in the DCMS. He was one of the few to make it back in the early days of the clan invasion, providing important data and information on these unknown invaders. He was one of the few members of the 9th Pesht regulars to escape the Smoke Jaguar attack, and he, along with the survivors, were folded into the 4th Pesht regulars, and he was requisitioned a Free Worlds League produced Spyder to replace his lost machine, a machine he would show a level of mastery few could attempt to replicate when he fought on Kaimba. Battle ROMs of the footage can be seen by accessing archive files DCMS-ROM-CI/Vester_Nico-3052-65891 through 65905.
All right. Well, next up we have Tech Zorn Hogg, Hagge, Hogg. Who is nicknamed Silverbird for his hair turning silvery at an early age. Don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing. But seeing as he was born in the Rim territories, it was probably due to stress. He ended up joining Comstar to escape that not very great place, and took his very battered Spyder, which he had named Betty, with him. As a very technical person, he ended up falling in with Presenter Bull's reborn militant Comstar, where he survived thanks to the obedience or death reality of the Rim territories. Of course, knowing the ultimate end of the Comstar resurgence in the Dark Ages, he saw the writing on the wall and escaped with only the clothes on his back and all of the classified files, of course, that he could carry. Because who doesn't like some good old insurance? He was paranoid, however, that Rom is still after him, and he changes identities often and sleeps with a gun underneath his pillow. And he is currently a member of a small mercenary command, trading his technician skills for a pilot's billet in a salvaged Spyder 9M that is, of course, named Betty 2.
Betty 2.
I wonder if he's ever going to get a Betty 3. Yeah. And that is actually not the last one, because there's another one in this. I found another one.
Ooh, you found another one?
I did. His name is Captain Phil Wonderdog Dahlbeck, who is listed underneath the Orion. But originally, he piloted a Spyder 9M, which he, of course, regarded as a death trap because it is ultra short range with two medium variable speed pulse lasers. Ugh, mouthful. He would deliberately volunteer for less risky scouting assignments to hopefully not die. However, once he spotted a damaged Orion C2 leading a Salama star during a deep raid, he took the advantage of the opportunity and used every bit of speed and agility his Spyder had to take down the larger mech. And he was able to, through a lucky headshot to the damaged cockpit. And he then very immediately abandoned his Spyder 9M. However,
as one does.
He does claim that the legal fight to get the Orion was harder than the actual fight to kill the Orion. Which, I mean, seeing as it's a deep raid, he'd have to, pack it up back on the dropship, take it back home, get it fixed, get the paperwork signed. I could see it being a harder fight.
Yeah, a bit of a pain.
Import duties are absolutely terrible sometimes.
Yes, especially on military dropships. Well, not to mention it's also clan tech, so then the Republic wants it for themselves, and so he's got to fight tooth and nail.
Yeah.
Or tooth and VSP laser maybe.
Well, you don't want to shoot your employer. It generally doesn't end well.
Bad reference after
officer.
that.
Too.
Or wait, no, he was a merc. Never mind. Helmet's Legion. I totally missed that bit.
Yeah, don't shoot your employer.
I hear it's bad for business.
I hear it's bad for business. Look at the Grey Death Legion.
All right. So, for our data dive today, we are going to continue to look at House Kurita's history with the Draconis Combine. And last time we left off right before the McAllister Rebellion. And so that will be the focus of today's section. But first we have a little housekeeping. The Von Rorst Dynasty era, as mentioned last time, secured the technology to build battlemechs. But as we talked about with the Gladiator and the Von Rorst episodes, they rushed out the tech and had middling effects. This was the time when they secured St. John and fought the Lyran Commonwealth to a standstill. The Steiners paid dearly for its defense, but relied on their knowledge of battlemech tactics to blunt the Draconis Combine's wave of new battlemechs. This is also the time when the Rosselhog Principality acted as a buffer state along the Draconis Combine and Lyran Commonwealth border. While they were in quiet rebellion, not to the Draconis Combine, but to the Von Rorst dynasty, negotiations stalled and accomplished little to nothing other than preventing the Cold Rebellion from going hot. That was until 2494, when Martin McAllister was sent to Rosselhog to negotiate with Blaine Sorensen on behalf of Yama von Rors. Martin was chosen for this assignment as his loyalty to the Draconis Combine was considered beyond reproach. He had lied about his age to join the military. When a battlemech was captured and claimed by him, he quickly took it and showed his natural skill. Given the era, his survival meant that he got promoted to Lance Commander quickly. He continued to climb the military ladder until he was noticed by Yama and assigned the position on Rosselhog. But it appears that Martin was loyal, but only until matters of the heart were concerned. This is where Ileana Sorensen, an important catalyst of history, enters our story. She was present at the fateful dinner of her father, Blaine Sorensen, and Martin McAllister when Martin's alliances shifted, in large part due to her. For the records show that the two immediately became infatuated with each other, quickly becoming inseparable. Martin stayed longer than intended, using his assignment and bluffing a possible breakthrough to explain his delayed return. Soon, Martin requested to marry Ileana, and Blaine consented after a genetic test was administered, and its results and the test itself were kept secret. Over the next 7 years, Martin acted as a go-between for the Sorensen and Von Rors factions, never revealing to Yama that he had married Ileana. During this time, he fathered a child, Sirawan McAllister, who would become historically important and shall have a spotlight pointed in her direction soon. She would grow up after the death of her mother during a water sport accident at the age of 3 with her aunt, and appeared as the daughter of her grandfather for security reasons. She would receive the very best education and was loved and supported by her family and the court of Rosselhog. Over the years, Martin continued to gain influence and position in the Draconis Combine court. He used it to stall talks and passed information to the Sorensen faction, having thrown himself into his work after the death of his wife. Eventually, Martin was influential enough to be able to enact a coup for the less competent Kruger von Ross, imprisoning Yama. In 2510, Blaine and the Rosselhog forces made a strategic raid into the Draconis Combine territory. This necessitated the rest of the Combine stripping its garrisons across the military districts, including New Samarkand. Martin, now a colonel of the House Guard, Jared Sorensen, Blaine's son, and the contingent of loyal to Martin House Guards entered the palace and systematically killed every person, guards, servants, political attendants, and the von Ross family. This was because the von Ross secrecy and the lack of knowledge of the family tree and identification. And Martin had to be sure, and so the palace floors ran red with blood of all. This included Jared Sorensen, who died during the Purge, solidifying the bond between the two factions in blood spent. After that bloody night, Martin announced and revealed the results of the tests he took when he married Ileana. Martin McAllister is a direct descendant of Shiro Kurita and would claim the throne of the Draconis Combine and return it to a more traditional and stable rule. He de-escalated hostilities between New Samarkand and Rosselhog. He strengthened the region's bonds and stabilized the region and pointed the military outwards instead of in. Martin also directed the military actions would change from a blitz style to a more methodical one, putting more of an emphasis on internal and external propaganda and covert intelligence actions. Thus, the McAllister dynasty had, prospectively, an era of peace and prosperity, a welcome change from the bloody purges that had lasted the entirety of the von Ross rule. Martin would rule for 5 years, but never officially designated an heir, but many believe he wished his daughter to rule after him, for she was sent for immediately after his ascension, and she continued to receive the finest education on New Samarkand, often sitting in on meetings with her father in order to gain an early education of the political court in the Draconis Combine. But the court regarded her as an outsider given her upbringing in Rosselhog. But given Combine law, Siriwana could not succeed her father as she was female and so ineligible for the throne. Private family documents show that an effort was made to find her an appropriate partner of the Kuritan family line to ensure the dynastic stability and continued consistency. Sadly, Martin never had the chance to see his daughter married, as he died in 2515 from an assassin who infiltrated his private chamber and killed him, leaving the realm in a succession crisis. With the Kuritan family having not re-established themselves and only having returned from exile at most 5 years ago, the royal court of New Samarkand had few contenders or prospects for who could be the next coordinator. The deeply patriarchal court would not accept Siriwan as a coordinator, and thus the crisis necessitated that she be named brevet coordinator, a temporary position. This is where we will leave off today with the ascension of the first female coordinator, Siriwan McAllister, a woman who will be the center of the next Draconis Combine data dive, and a woman whose influence on the Combine is impossible to accurately measure.
Possible. Purely impossible. I always forget how much of a mess early Draconis Combine history is.
Yeah, some of the houses, like, you actually start looking at go through their histories, and it's like, Kurita is literally for about, like 100+ year period of just insanity and just madness.
And a whole bunch of, like, infighting and kneecapping of themselves.
Yeah, they're literally, every 10 seconds, like, it looks like they're figuring themselves out, and then they shoot themselves again in the foot. Like, you look at, like, Davian history, for instance, like, yeah, they have their moments, but they kind of try and sort it out.
And their moments are really bad, though.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, they have horrific moments, but then they fix the problem.
Like, they shoot themselves in the foot and then fall down a spiked pit, but eventually they climb out of it.
Yeah, and then they make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Whereas Kurita doesn't seem to do that. Kurita just keeps letting it happen.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, though, the Davians tend to also, okay, no more walking around pits. Got it. Cool. Let's walk near this avalanche zone.
I mean, you're not wrong. My problem, well, I mean, at least the one thing I can say is, yes, Kurita's a mess. Davian likes to, like, outdo itself every time it has an internal disaster. But then you have House Merrick, that literally every 5 seconds somebody is trying to kill the Captain General to be the Captain General.
I always find it funny everyone wants to be the Captain General because...
Yeah, everybody wants to be the Captain General.
Who would want to be the Captain General?
I wouldn't want to be the
That sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, you become Captain General only to have, like, your brother want to knock you off, or, like, your distant cousin who's like, well, I could be a better Captain General.
No, I am Spartacus.
Yeah, I am Spartacus.
I mean, also, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's just a lot of work. When instead you could just, you know,
Not
be in charge of the Duchy of the Orient, I guess. Maybe the Merrick Stewart Commonwealth. I mean,
you got
pretty
options.
chill. Yeah, you got options. It's pretty chill. Like, instead you just get to, you know, stick it to the man as one of the provincials. Like, I'm not rebelling. I'm just telling you stuff. Anyway.
I'm not telling you no. I'm just not telling you yes.
So the Duchy of Anduin way of doing things. Yes, but no. But we're going to invade the Capellan Confederation without your permission.
For the noblest of reasons.
For the noblest of reasons, of course.
We all thought we could, you know,
it's
be
free
the
real estate.
true... Yeah, it is free real estate. It's always free real estate.
It's always free real estate.
So our sources for today are Sarna, Battletech Battlemech Manual, Master Unit List, TRO and Record Sheets Succession War, TRO and Record Sheets 3050 Upgrade, TRO and Record Sheets 3085 Cutting Edge, Record Sheets 3145, Il Clan Recognition Guide 19, Fall Down 7 Times Get Up 8, Battletech 2018 by Harebrained Studios, and Handbook House Kurita, and Sourcebook House Kurita.
Most honorable Kurita.
So honorable.
Arubu.
We all wish we were as honorable, obviously.
No. No, they're not honorable.
What? Come on.
I don't know, you know, basically killing off the entire leadership of the Catholic Church on New Avalon. You know, it's 60 million people on Guitaris.
You're just talking about those high watermarks is all you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the high watermarks.
It's the, you know, it's the exclamation points on the Davian and Kurita hate each other list.
Hey,
I
man.
mean, the day-to-day operation of them, it can't be that bad. Checks notes. Oh dear.
It can
I don't
be.
know. Oh, you mean the ISF, where basically if you say something slightly anti-government, like next thing you do is you end up in a camp.
Hey, man. No, yeah, okay.
Yeah, see, mm-hmm,
I was going to make a joke said, too.
And it has nothing to do with the man standing behind you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with most honorable ISF agent standing behind me, yes.
Don't hurt me, senpai.
Most honorable.
Most honorable.
You can understand why the Draconis Combine is very tradition-bound after the absolute mess that their early history secession-wise is.
Yeah, I mean, to try and add some stability. And then, you know, then you have the Black... Well, we'll get to that. But the Black Dragon Society, because, you know, not traditional enough.
Yes.
Stability through chaos.
Something
Chaos
like
through
that.
chaos. Stability
Chaos through chaos to get
chaos
tradition.
Through stability. They do it all.
Chaos
More.
for more tradition, for
Yes.
stability.
We're going to do all this chaos to be more stable. Don't worry, guys.
With more tradition.
Yes.
This podcast is made possible by our supporters on patreon.com/on the origin of Battlemechs, link in the description. Our social media on Twitter is at Origin of Mechs. We also have a community Discord, the Armory of Ouroboros, link in the description. You can email us at ontheoriginofbattlemechs@gmail.com. If you enjoy the show, please leave a review on your platform of consumption, tell your friends about us, and share on your community platform of choice. Special thanks to my friend Laura for the intro and outro. Our Ace Pilot Patreons are John Keith III, Metal Ed, and Stahlkater. Class dismissed. Everybody have a great day.
Stay safe out there.
Remember, New Avalon in the new year.
Module complete. System standby. Would you like to load the next module?
I just work here, man. My opinions are my own, in case anybody hears this.
Don't worry.
They do not reflect the official party line of the podcast.
I might keep that part just for the fun of it.
That one's
The official
actually-
party line part, yeah. That's a good No, what
Tag.
they're called. Tag, yes.
All
Or
right.
stinger. That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm. For legal reasons, all of the aforementioned commentary is a joke.
I remember when you were first trying to explain to me the concept of stinger, and I thought you were talking about the Battlemech, and I got really confused.
I remember like you and several other people were just like, what are you talking about? I'm just like, like the shawarma at the end of Avengers.
We're like, how is that a Battlemech?
Yeah.
What is this? All right, we should actually get started though.
I think it was TV tropes that got everybody on board because it's like, oh, here's a thorough explanation. Anyway. Hello.
But Derek, it is the new year.
Exactly. So we get to go back to New Avalon.
But what happens if we get to December and you're not back in New Avalon?
Well, New Avalon in the new year.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Eventually, you will be there in the new year. Just, which new year?
Yeah, it's just which year is it going to be? I didn't specify.
Sure.
There's always another 5-year plan.
Yeah, there's always another 5-year plan.
891 through 65905.
Nice.
I wish I remembered what the Dewey Decimal System is.
I haven't heard that mentioned in many
I know, right?
years.
I mean, I just made up numbers for real.
Hey. That's how I feel about the Dewey Decimal System as well.
You don't say that. You just go, yeah, this is totally part of the lore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you hadn't said that, I would have just kind of believed you and just kept going.
Yeah, I actually was like, where's he getting this? Because I'm looking at the write-up. I'm like, that's actually really cool. Maybe he found something.
Well, that's a stinger, I guess.
Dang.